Urban Academy is a small New York City public high school focusing on inquiry-based teaching and learning. The school's student population covers a wide range of the academic, social, and economic spectrum. The school's mission is to challenge this diverse student population and to prepare them to successfully handle college-level work.
I just think it's not a good thing, you know?
Urban Academy believes that what students think and have to say are critically important parts of their learning. The school curriculum includes such courses as the history of the civil rights movement, animal behavior, probability and statistics, Greek tragedy, playwriting, photography, and computer design. Annually, 95% of Urban Academy graduates go on to four-year colleges. The school has been recognized by the United States Department of Education as a Blue Ribbon School of Excellence and is a national showcase site. Looking for an Argument is a course designed to give students practice in listening, debating, note-taking, reading and highlighting, and timed essay writing. Critiquing each activity is also a central aspect of the course. Taught by two teachers, Looking for an Argument meets 3 times a week for a little over an hour each session.
Now, one question we've got is what's our schedule? We don't want to write tomorrow. We hardly argue. I think we should argue tomorrow.
No, we should read and argue or argue and read.
Read and argue because we've gotten them into it already.
Yeah.
So if we read and argue, then we could do the notes or the highlighting. So what we would be doing is on Thursday, we'll do the reading and more argument. Because we only argued for about 20 minutes. Then we'll do the highlighting, critique, and an essay on the Tuesday. Our question is the country too easy on its criminals?
Well, how about this? This is cities reduce crime and conflict without New York-style hard bill. If the crime rate is going down in places where they're not super tough on crime. Now, we need something that sort of argues for tough punishment.
Here's one. This is what you were saying.
Yeah, good.
I think we could give them these and say, using evidence from all the articles ever seen,
right,
and from these additional arguments attached, write an essay. Is this country too easy on its criminals? Please examine and reject the viewpoints you disagree with.
The course follows a weekly cycle, which begins with a debate on a selected topic. Over the course of a term, several issues are debated. Students, too, can propose topics, but must accompany the suggestion with appropriate articles. As the debate unfolds, students are expected to take notes. The 3-minute teacher presentation is followed by 1-minute student comments.
You completely failed to answer that question. You didn't say that in your argument.
The second class in the cycle begins with a discussion of the note-taking strategies used by the students during the debate. 3 or 4 contrasting examples are typed and distributed for comment. Next, students read and highlight selected articles which represent multiple perspectives on the topic debated. Frequently, the topic for a future essay is revealed, so the highlighting can be focused and an outline formulated. These, too, are collected, and a few contrasting examples are selected and reproduced for discussion.
Do your highlights help you?
The third class begins with a brief review of the highlighting and outline activity, followed by an essay assignment in which students read and respond to an article related to an aspect of the debate issue. The challenge is to write a timed essay which poses a new set of questions but also makes use of the debate notes and the first set of highlighted articles.
Good essays
The cycle is completed with a discussion of 2 to 3 contrasting student essays.
I guess essay number 2 just needed evidence.
A new cycle begins with the introduction of a new debate
I
topic.
think what this wrestling tells us about American society.
All right, let me just say, anyone who tells you that you watch too much TV doesn't know what they're talking about. All right? I watched a massive amount of television as a child. It didn't stop me from getting a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and reading a tremendous amount of books and knowing a lot of stuff. Second point, a lot of TV is very clever, it's fun and entertaining, but it's thought-provoking. The people who want to make you stop watching TV or who say you watch too much TV tend to be people from upper middle class backgrounds who, in order to get their degrees, had to do a lot of reading and couldn't watch a lot of television. And they want to make everybody else be like them. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And TV in modern society is play, and you take that away from kids, you're taking fun out of their lives. Finally, a lot of people like to say that there are violence and stupidity and stereotypes come out of television and it promotes it. But the fact is that violence and stereotypes and stupidity exist in America. TV doesn't create it. It may reinforce it if you're not dealing with violence and stereotypes in other places.
I think when Avram talks, you have to watch his logic. He's saying, I made it, so can everyone else. You got to be careful of an argument that says, if one person makes it, anyone can make it. If you read a book, you have a chance to think about things. You have a chance to put something of yourself into it. When the television is shoved down on you, everything is there. When it's there in front of you, the imagination goes. You're watching something that reinforces all that's wrong in America, and you're buying into it when you say, nothing wrong with television for kids. Chen.
When I watch TV, at least when I had cable when I was watching TV, most of the time I was watching like the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, like more educational things than just cartoons and Baywatch. And like I still like watching Sesame Street, and I still like watching Bugs Bunny. I still like watching all those fun things that like I learned from when I was a little kid.
I watch that Discovery Channel, and I'm like, I sit there for hours watching penguins jump off icebergs and all that stuff. But it's like I tune it out the same way I would tune out a Ricky Lake show. It's not like I'm like going to become like a penguin biologist.
You watch Sesame Street, which is what the majority of shows are like, and that everybody is getting sucked into. It's fast-paced advertising-type tactics that turn off the mind. But what you're getting on television is a babysitter. You have them saying, okay, go turn on the television. I'm cooking dinner.
It's okay for a parent to take off half an hour for them to take care of themselves while their child is watching Sesame Street and to just relax without the child running up and down screaming. And so I think that's okay.
People have a hard day at work and they need to escape, reality, as Avram said, and I think people have the right to.
You're talking about parents who turn on the television as a babysitter for kids who are 2 or 1 or 3 or 4, and they stare at it. And they see sex and they see violence, and you don't think that's formative.
A 2-year-old baby has a hard enough time figuring out that his hand is really his hand than to figure out that people are having sex on TV. He's still working his body out. He ain't even got time to be watching TV and paying attention and being like, oh wait, she's about to take off the bra. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have time for that. He's not thinking about that. He's worried about his toe. How am I going to get my toe in my mouth?
It has a big impact on kids in the positive and negative. I mean, I want to have my kids sitting down there all day watching TV, but I mean, after they come from school, they did their homework or whatever, they can watch TV until whenever time they gotta go to bed. I don't see the problem.
TV does affect, your time management and stuff like that. I spend, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours some days watching TV. You know what I'm saying? I watch a lot of TV, and I wish I didn't, because I would get out there and experience more of life. To be honest, I think if it wasn't television.
I don't think he's being denied experiences in life. In fact, there's nothing wrong with him watching 5 or 10 hours of television a day. If he can get done what he has to get done, I'm serious about this, in the rest of his life.
He might be a decent chap, maybe he'd be a better chap if he didn't spend 5 to 10 hours on the television. Sonia.
Kids that live in a small town in the middle of nowhere don't necessarily experience things like drug dealers and criminals. So if they watch television and the television portrays drug dealers as a black man, then they're going to think that black people are drug dealers and criminals. So, I mean, TV doesn't necessarily portray to them what real life is.
Look, we had racism in society before TV existed, in harsher forms, actually. And who says books are so sacrosanct and holy? Books can lie just as much as television can. Hitler wrote a book named Mein Kampf that millions of people read that was full of lies. Was that better than television because it was a book?
Sometimes it's hard to put what you're saying into 1 minute, what you're thinking. But I think you've done an excellent job for a first time, listening and participating. You want to make sure that your name is on 2 sets of notes. The first one and the one you've just taken now. And you want to make sure you put it in your folder in the notes side. And thank you very much, folks. Take a look at those notes. Make a comment on each one that you might make to the student who did these notes. We'll discuss them briefly, and then we'll go to your essay.
You're not responding to the statements that are on here. You're the teacher and you're critiquing these notes. What would you say to the student? You can make suggestions for improvement if you want. Write it down.
As you look at these, do you get any feeling for a style that you like better than others, that suits you? Not to say there's a better way of doing it, because it's got to be a way that
works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Do you like the way any of these go, or do you think there's any that don't work at all?
A lot of the people just end up restating a point that was already said, and I don't think you need to have the same point written down 3 or 4 times.
So you'd be more interested in the points than who said them?
Yeah.
I like notes number 1 a lot because they present both sides of the argument very well, and with the same thing that Abe said about number 3, it's very long, and I think it's good if you want someone to just document everything that everybody said. But it can get kind of repetitive.
I like 1 and 4, but I just think that they need to have the names of the people who said anything. So if you want to go back, instead of just saying, in my notes, blah, 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 you could say, in my notes, this person said, whatever.
Okay. Munira?
Number 3, I think it's just too long. Like, it didn't have to go into everybody's name, like, Herb said this, Brian said this, said this, because I don't know, it could have just said, when someone said something new, it could have been written down. But now what every single person says, because then you're going to be catching your ass to be like,
so you put a combination. You take, summarize Alvin's position, summarize my position, and then take the students as a new position came up.
Yeah.
But you do the dividing line like here. So you'd have a slightly different style. Okay, Tay?
Number 1, I think that sometimes it generalizes things too much, and people's points might be not as concrete as to say like, oh, TV's bad and TV is good. So you need somewhere in between, and that's why I like number 2, because it has the students thing. It's not just like pros and cons. And number 4, it's not organized enough for me. I can't, there's no headings like Avram and Herb, so I don't know who's for what, and then I'd have to read through every single one to know which is for what.
One of the things that you do is you highlight things. And what we've looked at is some, and we think, now why was that highlighted? Or we see somebody, sometimes people, I don't know if you've noticed, take a yellow thing and highlight everything. You get a few unhighlighted places. So what we thought we'd do, and Avram went through these really carefully, so he'll lead you through these things.
Okay, there are 4 sets of highlighted articles, and we picked 4 students highlighting. What we'd like you to do is for each set of notes, right, to look through each set of notes, and let's read through the instructions together, actually. Please complete the following questions for each set of notes. which underlined portion in each of the 16 articles you've received seems to be the most appropriate underlining. Put the check beside this portion in the margin. Be prepared to justify your choices. Now, the second thing we want you to do is which underlined portion in each of the 16 articles you've received seems to be the least appropriate underlining. And then we will look at your choices and also have a general discussion of what makes sense to highlight and underline, and what, how do you use highlighting, for studying and for analyzing things. Well, everyone's done at least one article, so I think that qualifies us to sort of say what are things that we think is good highlighting, what are things that we think are bad highlighting. Manira?
First of all, I don't think we should be doing this because certain people highlight certain things for their own advantages, so you don't know what they're trying to use when they highlight. Article 3. I think this was the best because all of it works. I didn't have anything to go against it. I picked that as the best one. I thought all of them were good. And I don't see how we can judge what someone underlines because we don't know what they're going to use it for. So it depends on how their essay comes about.
It's supposed to be highlighting key points. The key points that the authors are supposed to be making, not what they think are, not what they agree with or what they disagree with. All right, Herb? And I agree with that. If the assignment is to highlight the key points, then you can judge other people's highlighting because they either did or they didn't do what they were supposed to be doing.
Okay, so instead of highlight these specific points on this specific issue that are suggested in this article, and you missed like 5 of them, then you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do. But if you're reading it and you're going to write a paper on what you read in like 5 different articles, and you're writing a paper on your own like specific thing, then it doesn't really matter what you highlight because whatever you highlight is going to help you and only you. That's all I have to say.
We have differences of opinion that we haven't resolved. But when you're highlighting, we want you to be conscious of you using it for something. And that's what Cole is raising. That there's why are you highlighting? Now, your conclusion I would disagree with. Your argument I would agree with. In other words, Cole is arguing, depending on, you might be reading this for the hell of it and like a quote. So you put down the quote. You might be reading it because you want to remember the key points. Then it becomes contentious between, say, Altabi and myself and Richard. What we're arguing. But if you're conscious of why you're highlighting, what the purpose is, I think you'll do a better and better job of highlighting. What we're going to do now is give you an essay to write. You'll only have 20 minutes. You'll get one each week. Now, you'll need your notes, but the thing to do now, and we would suggest this really strongly, read the question carefully. Then, put down points you want to make in your essay. Don't worry about the order. Put down the points you want to make. Then put them in an order, and then write. Organize before you write.
Organize before you write.
So you've got about 22 minutes. It's like you're in an essay exam at college. You're only getting those 8 minutes. So you do as best you can to get your points in so that you don't fail the course. So with 8 minutes, you write as fast as you can and get every point that you need in there as quickly as you can.
Essay goes in the essay folder with the essay assignment. Notes with your name on the front of them go in the notes folder.
Oh, with the essay.
your polygraph. I seriously got
This is the first time you've gotten the essays back. Look through the essays, make a quick comment on each one of these, just a quick comment, and then we'll listen to what you have to say. Now, remember, you may have the best essay in the world written here, and if it doesn't answer this question, it fails. What we're working with you is to answer the specific question and figure out what's being asked. So now it's your job. Here's the question. Here are 5 answers. How well did each one do? Take a look. Take, say, 10 minutes at the most and go through and put a comment on each of them. So make sure that a student reading your comment would gain something by reading the comment.
Essay number 4, all I gave it was a good. It was okay. It had a lot of information in it, and I like that. It didn't just say the argument and that's it. It said the argument, why not. It had different points of views. And essay number 5, I didn't like. It wasn't enough information. It was too short for me.
Okay, Chris.
None of the papers had any evidence that I saw. None of them held their opinions with any evidence from any articles. So that's why I didn't put down good or not good.
I guess essay number 2 just needed evidence, and but I think the reason I liked it was because it was really strong in one position. Like, she definitely made her point clear in that position, whether it was what she believes or not. It just needed some evidence to support it.
I don't understand exactly what everything means as far as evidence.
It says, write an attack on your answer using evidence and arguments from the articles and the debate. So I think what they mean by refer to the articles or refer to something someone said in the class on the debate. That's what I think of when I think of evidence. That's what I think.
Okay. 80. I think what this wrestling tells us about American society is it's deteriorating.
People like the thrill of what they see in the wrestling ring. What's wrong with being entertained?
A lot of them take drugs to do this. So are you saying that we should be promoting drugs too?
Agreement with me saying it's like a soap opera. It's a non-thinking, idiotic society.
If that's true, then along with getting rid of wrestling, along with getting rid of soap operas, maybe we should get rid of books, because they take us to another reality where there are dragons and fairies and princesses getting saved and stuff. Maybe we should get rid of that.